The
Oh,
wrestling.
yes!
Oh yes, it is the Wrestling Forum. Hello, friends. It's ridiculously over. Anthony Floyer here with you for another very exciting edition of the Wrestling Forum. Joined as always by my partners in crime, the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher and the Phenom Michael Bullock. Let me tell you, folks, another amazing edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. The Go Home Show. This is the big one, boys. The Go Home Show for Survivor Series. It was live tonight from the Bond Secures Wellness Arena, formerly the Vilo Center in Greenville, South Carolina. Oh man, we're just still trying to recover from that main event segment. I mean, holy guacamole, unbelievable. But oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun tonight, and Michael Bullock's gonna be having some big time fun a little later on because he's gonna have some. He's gonna have a major surprise. Well, I already know what it is, but he's gonna have a surprise for Fletcher and a surprise for all of our viewers out there. I already know what it is. So when will you see it? Well, you'll see it when we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So with all that said, here we go, boys. Let's dive right in. The go home edition, the final Raw on the road to the Survivor Series, including something including something tonight that happened. What happened tonight? Something happened for only the third time, mind you, only the third time in the history of Monday Night Raw, and the first time in nearly 11 years. But boy, howdy, was it worth it? That's all I'm gonna say. Big time worth it. So, and we're also gonna switch gears a little bit tonight, and we're gonna do that on this very first segment of the night. Kicking off Monday Night Raw tonight, this go home edition of Survivor Series, we started it off for whom the bell tolls. The Brothers of Destruction, The Undertaker and Kane, they show up, they start the show. They both cut a promo on the Wyatt family. And then, speak of the devils, the Wyatt family interrupts. Bray Wyatt with a rebuttal. There's nothing left for me to say. In all the years we've done this show, normally, of course, you know the normal routine. I usually am the leadoff man, but not tonight. I'm not going to be the leadoff man tonight. Because going into this show, I was initially planning on giving Mr. Bullock the honor. Even before he suggested it to me, I was actually going to do it anyway because this is his man, and this is the match he's going to have the most vested interest in come Survivor Series, even more so than the semifinals and the finals, as it was announced tonight. The semifinals and the finals of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament, which will also be going down at Survivor Series. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I give you our phenom, Michael Bullock. He's going to lead it off. So, Michael Bullock, front and center for your boys, the Brothers of Destruction and the Wyatt family.
All right, thank you very much, ridiculously over Anthony Florio. Yes, this is the Phenom, Mike Bullock here for another edition of the Wrestling Forum. Delighted to be here as always. We started off, of course, with the Brothers of Destruction, and Taker starts it all saying, "You know what? Standing before you is the true army of darkness, and that vengeance awaits the Wyatt family, and that they tried to take their bodies and souls, but there's no man, no one, living or dead, that contains the power of the dark side." Then Kane basically he has the mic and says, "Playing with the flames of hell will burn you." And at Survivor Series, they have a special place reserved for the Wyatts in the deepest pit of hell. And then Taker says their evil has been tested time and time over and over again, and that Survivor Series, they will never rest in peace. And then we get the Wyatt family coming out, and Bray Wyatt says it's that 25 years the Undertaker has installed fear on every living creature that roams the earth. 25 years is long enough. A new army of darkness is going to emerge, and it's the Wyatt family. and that the brothers no longer dictate when wolves howl or when lightning crashes. They belong to him, and that he is now the new face of fear and will destroy the brothers at Survivor Series. Then we get the thunder and lightning, and then as soon as the lights go on, the Druids are there, but they're wearing sheep masks, and they try to jump the Undertaker and Kane. But did you really think that they were going to dominate them? No. They just destroy them, and they get a double choke slam. So, yeah, what a strong way to build this match. We still don't know who the two members of the Wyatt family are going to be that's going to face off with the Undertaker and Kane, but in my honest opinion, I think the two members, I think it's obviously going to be Bray Wyatt, since he's the one that started all this. And as far as the next person, I think it's going to be Braun Strowman. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But all in all, this was, to me, the second best segment of the night. Great work by everyone. Great work by the Wyatt family. And, of course, the Brothers of Destruction. So with that being said, I'm just going to give it to Fletch for his thoughts.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So glad to be here tonight. Now, I'm gonna say it like this: we all expected this great thing going on because it is, like you said, The Undertaker and Kane, the Brothers of Destruction. They're back. They're better than ever. They made their grandioso return a week ago in England and shocked the WWE universe, and now with everything on the line, and it's going to be a good fight. I don't think it's going to be a knockdown, drag out type of a affair or something like that. I think it'll be good for the most part. But everybody played their part really good. Undertaker and Kane, the Brothers of Destruction, the 25 years, and it just felt good in a way that it just left us in awe. And I think that's all it is. Taker's success, what Taker has done in the history of not only the WWE but Survivor Series, that was the birth of The Undertaker. What made him immortal, or what made him a legend, was WrestleMania. But I think we all can agree, this was without a doubt a true amazing balance of power and force, and now we got a new force, a deadlier force, a force that is productive of fear. And I think that's as good as you can say, and lo and behold, we're talking about the Wyatt family. So, I mean, who are the two members of the Wyatts that's going to face the Brothers of Destruction? We'll wait and see what happens. Other than that, I thought it was a solid segment. I loved it, like you guys did. And Anthony, it's yours.
I forgot to mention, before I give you my thoughts, I guess I was so caught up with everything. This particular edition of the Wrestling Forum tonight, we are dedicating this show to the memory of Nick Bockwinkel. Of course, Nick Bockwinkel, as you all know, passed away this past weekend at the age of 80. Four-time AWA World Heavyweight Champion. At one point was managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan, and also he was the commissioner and at one point the on-air authority figure in WCW in the 90s, and which I thought he did a magnificent job doing that. I mean, he made a great authority figure, and he was obviously then was succeeded by another great, James J. Dillon, but nonetheless, this show tonight is being dedicated. We are dedicating this show tonight to the memory of Nick Bockwinkel. So, on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum, our thoughts and prayers to the family and friends and colleagues of Nick Bockwinkel, and he will surely be missed. And we'll have more on that in our shout-outs at the end of tonight's show. But nonetheless, getting into this, honestly, For much of the night, I had this as the segment of the night, to be honest. However, after what we saw at the end of this Raw tonight, I have to change my mind. I got to change my scoring on this. I got to consider this the second best segment of the night, even though it was very good. I mean, Taker doing a great promo as always, a great follow up by Kane, and then Bray Wyatt, another fantastic promo from him. I mean, as great as this segment was, and it was, trust me, it was. I just thought that main event segment, something about that main event segment, actually made that better. And Bullock and I, we did the show tonight, and we sat there and we questioned ourselves. We kept saying, "Yeah, good luck to the main event segment to try to top this segment with the Brothers of Destruction and the Wyatt family." Well, guess what? Spoiler alert, it did. Oh, did it? That's all I'm gonna say right there. So with that said, second best segment of the night. You guys touched on everything. So great promos all around. Everybody was great. Taker was great. King was great. Bray, of course, always great. So we're not going to rehash any of that. Survivor Series, Bullock and I, we've been back and forth on this. I see Bullock a lot in the afternoons as well, and during one of our afternoons, he told me that he felt it was going to be Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman as the two Wyatt family members to go up against Taker and Kane at Survivor Series. And as of now, I'm inclined to agree because I think Rowan and Harper, who knows, they may want to push those two as a legitimate tag team again. So, which I'm hoping they do. And if they do, hopefully they'll get a run with the straps at some point. But we'll see. So second best segment of the night. It was until the end of the show. This was the segment of the night, but I was so blown away by that end segment. I have to consider this the second best segment of the night now. Changing up my mind. I gotta change my mind on that. So with all that said, let's move on.
Oh, and Florio, before you move on, I got some breaking news. The
Yes.
Houston Texans have beaten the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals are no longer undefeated. They win it 10-6. So,
Whoa.
what an upset!
That is a devastating loss, a stunner. But here's the thing, guys, and we'll probably get into this Friday night. But I'll just say it like this: when it comes to primetime games under the lights, there's something about it that almost Cincinnati kind of chokes under the pressure, and it happened again tonight. But like you said, shakeups in the power rankings, big time shakeup in the power rankings, and a devastating loss, and a huge win for the Texans.
Yeah, that is a huge win there, and now we're down to two undefeated teams in the NFL.
The two teams that met in Super Bowl 38, the New England Patriots and the Carolina Panthers. Gee, I wonder who the top two teams in the power rankings are going to be Friday night. We're going to have to put our finger on that. 3 through 10, though, I'll tell you. 3 through 10, that's going to be a chore. That's all I'm going to say.
It's going to be very, very interesting, as Chris Berman would say.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So there's your plug right there. Friday night. You do not want to miss Strictly Sports NFL Friday with the three of us. So, oh, yeah. Big time show. All right, now moving on. The first of the 4 quarterfinal matches in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Tournament, and it's a battle of former NXT champions. The Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Kevin Owens, versus the man that gravity forgot, Adrian Neville. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 45 seconds via the pop-up powerbomb, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Kevin Owens. Michael Fletcher, Owens and Neville. What say you?
What say me? Wow. 2.5 to 3 stars. That's what I say. Amazing fight, great match. It just delivered on everything about it. The psychology was great. It just felt good. I was very into this fight, to say the very least, and it felt like a tournament match. I mean, we were all talking about, this and that, about, the last few weeks and the whole 9 yards, But let me tell you guys, they nailed this tonight. They absolutely nailed it. It was a great battle. There's nothing bad to say about it. And congratulations to Kevin Owens, man. I mean, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion punches his ticket to the Survivor Series. He's off to the semifinal. I mean, this was a great match, and I mean, they made me believe because when you see a match like this, you're like, oh man, this is. I hope this delivers because you never know with WWE because when it's Monday Night Raw, short timing, this and that, commercials, you're looking for almost a pay-per-view quality type fight, and you're just like you're hoping for it, but you dream about it, but then sometimes you never get it. I feel like this fight, and I might be a little out there, I felt like this was a pay-per-view quality match. This was a solid mid-card pay-per-view quality fight that we would see on Survivor Series or something like that. I felt it. I loved it. I thought the body of work was perfect. 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating. This was absolutely beautiful. So with that said, Anthony, it's yours.
Very insightful as always, Michael Fletcher. And yes, I definitely agree. But I'm actually going to raise it just a smidge, if I'm going to be honest with you. It's the third best fight of the night for me. 2 other matches were better, I'll be honest with you. But I'm going to rate this between 3 to 3.25. I thought this was a very good match. I got to see these 2 guys go one-on-one when I went to SmackDown, as part of the SmackDown taping in Providence, August 25th. These 2 guys went one-on-one, but unfortunately that match was about 5 to 6 minutes long. It was way too short for my liking. It came off as one of the more disappointing fights of the night, even though it was a solid match for what it was that night. This match was better than the one I saw in person in Providence. I'll tell you that right now. Like I said, 10 minutes and 45 seconds was the time of the fall, and some great near falls, some great action throughout, and I'm not at all surprised these 2 delivered. Second best match in their series. There was one match that I felt was better because that was at Monday Night Raw back in June, June 7th, as part of the Kevin Owens NXT Championship Open Challenge. Those 2 men, Owens and Neville, fought, and they had the fight of the night on that show. That was like 4 to 4.25 stars, as I recall. But man, oh man, 3 to 3.25 stars is the rating here. I'm not at all surprised about the outcome. I mean, Kevin Owens. I can't say I'm surprised that he goes to the semis. I mean, that's not a big surprise to me. Adrian Neville will get his day one day. I feel it in my bones. Within the next maybe year or 2, I think Adrian Neville has what it takes to be a future WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Simple as that. So, but for right now, it's the big man from Maryville, Quebec, Canada, formerly the Antichrist of professional wrestling as part of the ROH, Kevin Steen. It's Kevin Owens now, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, halfway home to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Very good match. 3 to 3.25 stars. Third best fight of the night. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Kevin Owens and Adrian Neville? We saw this fight.
I do agree. I mean, this was a 3 to 3.25 star match. I mean, this was a solid match, and yeah, these 2 really delivered. I mean, we knew this was going to be a good fight. I mean, this was going back to their time at NXT. And of course that, like you just mentioned, Florio, the matchup during the NXT Championship Open Invitational, and those 2 really delivered a solid match, and this one here was no different. So yeah, so now Kevin Owens moves on to the semifinals at Survivor Series. Who will his opponent be? Well, we'll let you know about it. So other than that, you guys pretty much touched on it all about the good action here, but this was a 3 to 3.25 star match. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on.
Next up here on the Wrestling Forum, we have a one-on-one match. The Sultan of the Selfie, Tyler Breeze, accompanied by Summer Rae, going up against R-Truth. Winner of the match in 4 minutes and 10 seconds, it was Tyler Breeze. And I tell you what, going into this match, honestly, I thought this was going to be a meh fight, in all honesty. I thought it was going to be a dud enhancement fight, but no. I mean, this match ended up being a little more competitive than we honestly thought. And it's because of that. I'm actually going to rate this between 1.5, teetering on 2 stars. It is the second worst fight of the night, but I'll tell you what. I mean, in the 4 minutes and 10 seconds we got, I mean, like I said, I honestly thought this was going to be a dud enhancement with Breeze going over rather decisively. But no, I mean, R-Truth actually, they had Tyler Breeze make R-Truth actually look good in this fight, and I think that was a pleasant surprise, to say the very least. But even though it's the second worst fight of the night, I got to say it, 1.5 to 2 stars for the effort. So, yeah, am I surprised Breeze won? No, absolutely. I had him going over anyway. What's next for him in Summer? Well, I don't know, but all I know is Summer looked absolutely phenomenal, as usual, in that little black dress. So, well done. 1.5 to 2. That's the rating on this. Bullock and I had a lot of fun with the fight, I'll explain it to you, Fletch, behind the scenes. So with all that said, 1.5 to 2, second worst fight of the night. But man, oh man, a lot better than I initially thought. I mean, we thought it was going to be a done enhancement. Hardly the case. Wouldn't you agree, Michael Bullock, as we saw this fight?
Yeah, I do agree. 1.5 to 2 stars. I mean, it was the second worst fight of the night, and this turned out to be much better than what I expected. And yeah, going into this, both me and Anthony thought this was going to be a dud enhancement fight, but no, this was a solid match. I mean, it was too short, but in that amount of time we got, the action here I thought was good. I mean, Tyler Breeze looked good in the match. You can even say the same for R-Truth. I mean, I think Tyler Breeze made R-Truth look really good in this match, and but I'm not surprised Tyler Breeze got the win here. But yeah, so what's next for Tyler Breeze? Who knows? Maybe he could be part of some traditional Survivor Series elimination match, even though it wasn't announced. But who knows? Maybe they might announce something during the maybe during SmackDown, or maybe during the Survivor Series kickoff show. But we'll wait and see what happens. So, but other than that, 1.5 to 2 stars. Second worst fight of the night, but in that short amount of time we got, I thought this was a fine match for what it was. So, Fletcher, I give it to you.
I'm gonna give it 1.5 stars and just say solid 1.5, and that's it. It was good for what it was worth. I'm not gonna jump up and down about it. There was some good moments, some decent moments in the fight, but I'm not gonna harp too hardcore about it. I just felt like it could have been a little better, but for what it was worth, both men actually looked good in the action, and that's why I didn't mind it as is. So at the end of the day, good, not great. 1.5 is the rating for it, and let's just move on. So Anthony, it's yours. Next fight.
Oh boy, here we go. Back to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Tournament quarterfinals. We had the show-off, Dolph Ziggler, one-on-one with the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. The winner of the match, in 16 minutes and 45 seconds, Dean Ambrose, the Lunatic Fringe, via the Dirty Deeds. Michael Bullock, you get to lead off on this one, my friend. What do you think?
Man, what a match this was here. I'll give this the second best fight of the night, but the rating I'm going to give it 3.5 to 4 stars. I mean, I thought this was a tremendous match. I mean, both Dean Ambrose and Ziggler looked really good. The action was just spot on, and I mean, when you know these two are in the same ring, you know you're going to get a good fight between these two, and this was really good. And I thought it had a little bit of that Be a Man fight. I mean, especially with some of the punches that were thrown there by Dean Ambrose in this match. But man, I enjoyed it. I loved it, and yeah, I mean, congratulations to Dean Ambrose. He now moves on to the semifinals of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament, and he's going to go up against Kevin Owens. And boy, howdy, that matchup between those two is going to be something worth watching. I mean, Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. That's definitely going to be one of the top fights of the night at Survivor Series. But yeah, but what happens next for Dolph Ziggler after this? But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But 3.5 to 4 stars is my rating. Second best fight of the night. So Fletcher, I give it to you.
I can't go 4. I think that's a little too high, Michael Bullock. I know the excitement level of the fight was absolutely amazing, and yes, but 3 to 3.5 is about right. I mean, 4, I think you're really pushing it. I think this was an amazing fight, no doubt about it. This definitely has second best fight of the night, and to me, possibly the third best fight of the entire tournament overall. I think this is just an absolute masterpiece, to say the very least. I mean, I was enthralled with this fight, and it was really good from beginning to end. It went inside the ring, outside the ring, the psychology of Ziggler, the psychology of Dean Ambrose, and on top of that, it was a damn good wrestling match. You know, they were building it up. They were building it up for a few minutes, just trying to prove, the wrestling well and just trying to get it more better and better. But, normally the first few minutes is always to feel out. Then, so you feel each other out. You start to build the story a little bit. Then you start getting into more of the conventional style, Ambrose takes an early lead. He dominates a little bit of the fight. Then Ziggler has a moment where he comes back. But then once we get to the ending, it went guns blazing. Like, you got to see both men beating up, struggling to stay on each other, giving us those epic moments, where we're thinking it could end. There's 2.5, 2 3/4. And near fall after near fall, and we're just on our edge of the seat, like, oh my God, I don't want this to end, but it's gotta have to end one way or another. And it was a great fight. It was a great match. It was amazing. 3 to 3.5 is my score for this fight. Anthony, it's yours.
I have to go with Bullock's rating on this one, Fletch. Between 3.5. Maybe 3.5 to 3 3/4, teetering on 4, but you can't go any lower than 3.5. To be honest with you, that's the lowest you can go on this. Second best fight of the night, absolutely correct. I mean, there was one other match that just blew us all away. We'll get into that in a little bit, but man, oh man, I told Michael Bullock going in, I expected this fight to be one hell of a match, and boy howdy was I right. I mean, technical wrestling at its finest. I mean, you know how much, it's well documented on this show, the love affair that Michael Bullock and I have for technical, scientific chain wrestling, and that's exactly what we got here tonight between two consummate pros, and this was just absolutely phenomenal. And a match like this made not only this tournament feel like a big deal, but it also made the WWE World Heavyweight Championship feel prestigious. Absolutely. I mean, because that's what they're fighting for. They're fighting for the big prize, the coveted WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt, and that right there felt like a WWE Championship match right there. No question about that. I mean, these two. I mean, Fletch, you talked about Kevin Owens and Adrian Neville being a pay-per-view quality match. Who says this fight wasn't a pay-per-view quality match? I felt this was definitely a pay-per-view quality type match as well, and as well as the fight that we're all going to feel it was the fight of the night, which we're going to get into in a moment or so. But everything was right. I mean, the storytelling, the psychology, the action, the crowd, yeah, the commentary top notch. I mean, the near falls, the back and forth near falls throughout this match, just absolutely phenomenal. And well done to Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. I mean, another predictable outcome. We all knew Ambrose was going to go over. but man, oh man, just a fantastic match. And 3.5 to 3 3/4, teetering on 4. It's definitely the second best fight of the night. So with that said, we're just going to move on to our next matchup here. It was a 6-man tag team match. We had all 3 members of the New Day going up against the Usos and the big guy, Ryback. Winners of the match via disqualification. Yeah, I said it. Via disqualification in 5 minutes and 50 seconds. The New Day wins it. The Ryback and Uso team were disqualified because Ryback put his hands on the referee, John Cone. He shoved referee John Cone, thus resulting in the disqualification. So the New Day win it. 5 minutes and 50 seconds, the time of the fall. Michael Fletcher, you got to lead off on this one. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm gonna surprise a few people. This is a 2-star fight. I'm a little shocked to see that Ryback kind of put the hands on the referee and that called for the bell. Are we seeing maybe a chance of a Ryback heel turn again? I mean, after his shocking defeat that he suffered on SmackDown as he got eliminated from the WWE World Heavyweight Title tournament when Kalisto basically pulled off the David over Goliath moment, and now here we are, and Ryback he kind of lost his cool. I don't know what there is to say. He kind of just went a little crazy there for a moment, made a mistake, pushed the referee, and in professional wrestling, whenever you push the referee, 9 times out of 10 it's bell time, like Jesse Ventura used to say. And unfortunately, John Cone is one of the most no-nonsense referees in WWE. So I think, Anthony, you always say that he's one of the more no-nonsense referees, and he put his hands on him, and he had that quick trigger, and he pulled it and called for the bell. DQ finish. Not the way you want to end a fight, but I mean, it is what it is. 2 stars for the rating, even though I know it could have been a lot better, but it also made it very interesting because of the fact that with the way that the fight ended, and especially the DQ finish, it actually progressed a storyline a little bit. Is that, now we're wondering, what's the mindset of Ryback? Are we looking at a possible heel turn for him, or was this just, he just got caught up in the moment, made a mistake, and just had one of those brain cramp moments? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stories that you can work around this. So I like the story aspect of it. I think the fight could have been a lot better, but the only reason why I'm giving it a 2 stars is because of the story progression more than anything else. Because if you were gonna just strictly score it on fight alone, I could give it about 1.5 stars. But because of story progression and storyline usage, I'm giving it the full 2. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, right around that same boat with you, Fletch. 2 to 2.25 stars is the rating I'm giving it, because there was some okay action throughout this fight. I can honestly say the fight was maybe about 2.5, but the thing is, the DQ finish really took that away. I mean, it's very rare that we get a disqualification finish in a 6-man tag match. And Ryback shoving referee John Cone, thus resulting in the disqualification. And I tell you what, I honestly thought the Usos and Ryback were going to go over. I thought the Usos were going to get the fall on New Day, which would probably result in a tag team title match down the road, maybe even at Survivor Series. But no, that did not happen. So the Usos and Ryback get disqualified, but I still think we're going to get an Usos New Day tag title feud down the line. Not sure what's next for Ryback after that surprise loss to Kalisto in that first round tournament match on the last SmackDown, but for right now, 2 to 2.25 stars. Third worst fight of the night for me. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this 6-man before we get to our big fight of the night here.
All right, 2 stars is my rating for the match. I mean, I could have given it 2.25 to 2.5, but it's just that DQ finish really killed it. And Ryback, I mean, he lost his temper when the referee kept telling him to get back in the corner. He shoved him, and John Cone was quick to the trigger and said, "That's it. I'm calling for the bell." I mean, and he did it emphatically. I mean, as soon as he did that, he got out of the ring in frustration. I mean, this match was. I mean, it could have been better, but like I said, the DQ finish really took away from it. And I mean, there's some things you gotta learn, Ryback, and one of the things you can't do is put your hands on an official. But then again, I mean, the referee, he also put his hands on Ryback, so he knows he can't do that as well. But either way, I mean, it is what it is. So 2 stars is my rating for the match. So that being said, Florio, let's move on to our next match.
Oh boy, are we gonna have some fun with this one, boy? Oh, here we go. Let me just make sure that this is indeed that one. Oh yeah. I told you all that we were gonna have a special surprise, courtesy of one Michael Bullock, and because coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, Bullock, I know you've got it ready, so I hope you have it ready. The match coming up here for the tournament match, we had the master of the Superman Punch, the odds-on favorite, the Golden Child, Roman Reigns, going up against Antonio Cesaro, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Bullock has done it. He's made it. The Cesaro section.
The Cesaro section.
The Cesaro section.
Oh no!
Fourth. How about that for a surprise, huh? I told you.
Oh my goodness!
He's done it, folks. The
I've been
Cesaro
wanting to do
section.
it for so long.
And Bullock felt it. He felt it in his heart, folks. And there it is. We just made history here on the Wrestling Forum. Our very own Cesaro section sign, courtesy of Mr. Michael Bullock. And there it is. Oh, baby. Oh, there go the ratings. That's all there is to say about that. But anyways, it was Roman Reigns, the master of the Superman Punch, going up against the Swiss Superman, Antonio Cesaro, in this quarterfinal bout. Winner of the match, in 20 minutes and 10 seconds, no big surprise, it was Roman Reigns. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing left for me to say except for this. Fight of the night. 4.25 to 4.5 stars. This was just absolutely phenomenal. Bell to bell, the action, smash mouth, physical, and I told this to Bullock. I said to myself, somewhere Michael Fletcher is grinning like the Cheshire Cat right now. Why? Because this was a Michael Fletcher and Wrestling Forum Be a Man fight. This fight was the epitome of those words, be a man fight. Cesaro, the uppercuts, including he did a bouncing uppercut off the second rope. And then his usual uppercut montage. And yes, even for a brief moment, we got the Cesaro swing.
The Cesaro swing.
And I said to Bullock, if he gets that on Roman Reigns, the IWC is going to lose their minds. Well, the IWC lost their minds, folks. Because we all know, it's well documented, how much of an IWC darling Antonio Cesaro really is. Wow, that Cesaro swing, awesome. And then he did that usual move where, he had Roman Reigns up in the air, caught him with an uppercut on the way down. And then Roman Reigns with his drive-by move, phenomenal. 2 Superman punches, including one where he had Cesaro in a tree of woe type position. And then he gets him with another Superman, and then a spear. Ball game over. yes, according to Derek Ferrera, this was his lock of the show, and it was the lock for everybody. Man, oh man. I mean, everybody and their mother knew Roman Reigns was going over tonight, folks, but Antonio Cesaro, let me tell you, that his performance tonight, leads me to believe that within the next year or two, not only do I firmly believe in my heart of hearts that Antonio Cesaro is going to be a future bona fide main eventer, but he's also to me a future WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He's gonna get a run with the belt at some point. I believe it. And after this $1 million performance tonight, he looked like $1 million freaking bucks tonight, folks. Even in defeat. I mean, we all knew Roman was going over, yes, but man, oh man, I said to Michael Bullock that this was going to be the fight. I mean, we did our bold predictions, Michael Bullock, as part of the our little pre-Raw chat, which leads into the big show as we always do. And what did I say? I said that this fight was going to be the fight of the night. And boy, howdy, I was right. And you agree with me. Oh, no, actually, we agreed that they were going to make some more matches for Survivor Series. And, oh, yeah, they didn't do that. But hey, I did tell you, Bullock, I did tell you that this was going to be the fight of the night when it came to the tournament matches. And overall, I believe I had that one. Simple as that. Well done, Roman Reigns. Well done, Antonio Cesaro. This ranks right up there as one of the best TV matches of the year. Far and away. What a match. Not quite a 5-star classic, but another 5 to 10 minutes, and it would have been. But even though this wasn't a 5-star, even though this was, like I said, 4.25 to 4.5, it was a 4.25 to 4.5-star classic, chock full of some of the finest Shakespearean drama you will ever see in professional wrestling today. Well done. Well done, both of you. My hat's off to you. And let me tell you, the theme of the night, we talked about pay-per-view quality matches. Let me tell you, folks, not only was that a pay-per-view quality match, that was a pay-per-view quality main event. Book it. 4.25, 4.5 stars, fight of the night, despite the oh-so-predictable and obvious outcome. Michael Bullock, I got to ask you the question like I always do. How do you follow that? My gosh.
I don't know how you follow that, but yeah, definitely this was fight of the night, and this was a 4.5-star match to me. I mean, what can you say? I mean, this was definitely a Wrestling Forum Be a Man fight, and I enjoyed every minute of it. It was smash mouth, it was hard hitting, the uppercuts, and I mean, just great work by both guys. And I mean, yeah, we knew Roman Reigns was going over, but man, Cesaro put a big time effort in there. Yes, we saw the Cesaro swing, and yes, he even did, of course, the sharpshooter thing. Homage, of course, to his partner, of course, Tyson Kidd. And there were times I thought it looked like Cesaro was going to do it, that he was going to win and move on to the semifinals. But you knew Roman Reigns was going over. But I loved what happened after the match. I mean, they embraced each other as a sign of respect. And I mean, both of them have a huge amount of respect for each other. So, really got nothing else to say except 4.5 stars, fight of the night, and bravo to Roman Reigns and Cesaro. You definitely made the three of us here at the Wrestling Forum really happy with your performance out there tonight. Bravo to you two. Fletcher, I give it to you.
4 stars, fight of the night, and more importantly, gentlemen, and I cannot believe you forgot this, the fight of the tournament. The best match of the tournament, and holy cow, what a match. I mean, this was absolutely phenomenal. There's nothing more to say about it. It was a quarterfinal match that we're going to be talking about for years to come, and that's how great this match was. I mean, Cesaro with the Cesaro swing, Roman Reigns, the Superman punch, the flying drop kick like he normally does, the spear. We saw it all. Roman was going for a Superman punch, gets lifted up in the air, gets knocked with that European uppercut from hell. It looked if Cesaro would have hit the neutralizer, Cesaro would have won. It was an amazing fight. There's nothing more to say. Plus, on top of that, it got over 20 minutes of actual action. I mean, nowadays you never ever get that on Monday Night Raw. So they went all out for this fight, and Anthony said it. This was a pay-per-view quality match, a pay-per-view main event fight, and they gave it on Monday Night Raw. They upped the ante tonight and then some and delivered it in spades, and my hat is off to Roman Reigns. My hat's off to Cesaro. And not only that, but thank you, WWE, for finally giving us a match or giving us matches that we care about and make us feel the WWE World Heavyweight Title Tournament is finally here. I felt like during the first round there was a couple of fights that really stood out, but if you really look at tonight, gentlemen, and I know there's one more fight after this, but the 3 fights that already we saw up to that point, it felt like, okay, the tournament is really revving up, it's really turning up, and it's getting really good. And imagine this, if we're going nuts about just quarterfinal fights, what are we going to be reacting to? Now, cross the fingers on this, but what might we be expecting? Semifinal and the championship fight at the Survivor Series this Sunday night. That's all I'm going to say. There's nothing more to say. 4 stars, at least for me, the fight of the night, and without a doubt, the best match of the entire WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament right now. And I'll even go as far to say maybe even a top 10 fight of the year, at least for a TV fight of the year. It has to be at least in the top 10, possibly in the lower half. It probably is not a top 5 fight, but this might get top 10 to honorable mention level. So with that said, Anthony, it's all yours.
Couldn't agree with you more on that, Fletch. And we haven't seen a match like that in months. I mean, but do remember Cesaro and John Cena when they had that second U.S. Open Challenge match in Chicago? That got over 30 minutes. Remember that. So, and that to me is still the TV fight of the year. I don't care what anybody says, and a 5-star classic. So that's all I can say on that. So. Yeah, I mean, there's no way we can move on from that, but we got to move on anyway. And we have to move on to a cool-down fight. That cool-down fight being the Ascension, Connor and Victor, going up against those damn Dudleys. And the winners of the match, in 3 minutes and 15 seconds, those damn Dudleys. And when we do a Dudleys match, well, Michael Bullock's going to lead it off anyway. What do we do on Dudley fights when they win, Bullock?
Oh, my brother! Oh, testify!
Testify now, Bullock. You're up.
All right, I certainly will. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to say this was the worst fight of the night. I'm gonna give it 1 star for the effort there. It was short and. But this was basically a cool-down fight just to give the fans a breather from an unbelievable match between Cesaro and Roman Reigns. So, and obviously this was the cool-down fight, and you knew. Of course, we all knew those Dudleys were going over. So, there's really nothing more to say. So, 1 star for the effort. Fletch, it's yours.
Sorry about that, gentlemen. Had to unmute my mic. Yeah, it was a cool down fight. I mean, there's really nothing to really harp about. I mean, this is probably half to 1 star. If you want to call NA, I wouldn't be angry at you. If you want to call it a dud, I wouldn't be angry at you at all with that either. Um, by default, worst fight of the night, no doubt about it. Anthony, it's yours. I'm not gonna go much more into it.
Yeah, I don't blame you, Fletch. It was the worst fight of the night. I do agree with you on that. Half to 1 star. I agree with your rating there, Fletch. There was a little bit of okay action, but not a whole lot. But everybody knew the Dudleys were going to go over anyway. So, what's next for these two? Don't really know, honestly. But we'll find out soon enough. So, we're not going to waste any more time on that. Half to 1 star. It was the worst fight of the night, no question about it. So with that said, we move on to our final second round quarterfinal bout in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament. We had Lucha Dragon Kalisto, fresh off of his humongous upset over Ryback last week on SmackDown, going up against the United States Heavyweight Champion, Alberto Del Rio, along with Zeb Coulter. Winner of the match in an even 10 minutes via the double foot stomp a la Caval, Senshi, or whatever you want to call him. It was the United States Heavyweight Champion, Alberto Del Rio. Del Rio wins it. Before I throw it to you, before I throw it to Michael Fletcher for his thoughts, it now sets the table for the semifinals for Survivor Series. It will be Alberto Del Rio versus Roman Reigns, as well as Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose. So, Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on this fight, and as well as your early thoughts on the semifinal bouts.
All right. First off, let me talk about the fight, and then we'll go into the future tournament matches. This was the worst of the 4 fights. I think we all can agree with that. This one was about maybe 1.5 to 2 stars is the rating that I'm going to give it. It was good for what it was worth. It was good for the time it got, because it got 10 minutes, which is very nice. But it lacked the substance or the story like the other 3 tournament fights did. When you had the excitement of Cesaro and Roman Reigns, or you had that amazingness of Kevin Owens when he fought his match, or when we got the Ziggler and Ambrose, how we were just like, oh my god, this is amazing. Where the Del Rio Kalisto is more like, okay, it's the Cinderella story. Kalisto pulled off the mega upset, but with Del Rio coming back, you're kind of like, I think I know where this is going to be going. I think we know how this is going to play out. And sure enough, bang. But the way it ended, with Del Rio basically nailing his version of what they call the Warrior's Way. That's the move that you were that I think you were trying to go for, Anthony. When you talk about low key or Caval, it's the Warrior's Way. Yep. That's what it is. Warriors. Basically, he gets caught in the proverbial tree of Well, I'm gonna do it because I know Anthony loves when I do this. So, Del Rio puts Kalisto up on the turnbuckle. He basically hangs him out and puts him into the proverbial tree of whoa. The next thing you know, the Warrior's Way right into the chest. See you later. 1, 2, 3. He gets the pinfall. Like I said, it was not as good as I was hoping for, and I'm gonna say it. This was clearly the worst of the 4 quarterfinal fight. However, it was expected, and we knew this was going to be, the Final 4 is now set. So now where do we go from here? Del Rio versus Roman Reigns. This is going to be one of those fights that could be, good match. I don't think it's going to be anything spectacular, but I think with Roman's body of work, with Del Rio's body of work, I think it's going to be solid enough and good. And I could see this being maybe a 2.5, 3-star fight. Now, as far as Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose goes, this might have the potential to be really special, really amazing, and I know for the IWC fans, this is a dream fight here to see Ambrose and Owens go at it one-on-one in the semifinal. This has the makings to be 3.5, 4 stars, and this could be the show stealer of the entire Survivor Series. Even though I know we're looking for an epic main event and an epic finale, I think this fight could overshadow the final match. This fight could overshadow the entire Survivor Series event, including, and I know I'm going to anger Michael Bullock, but I'm going to call it as such. I think it might be even better than the Wyatt family versus the Brothers of Destruction. Take it for what it's worth. But I feel this has the makings and this has the quality that this could go down as a great semifinal match, and maybe this has not only fight of the night status, but this could go down as one of the top fights in Survivor Series history. Now, if they book it correctly, if they give these guys the ample amount of time and they let these guys just go and just show their artistry, show their amazingness, show their, what we know they're capable of, because a lot of IWC fans knows what Kevin Owens brings to the table as much as they know what Dean Ambrose brings to the table. If these two absolutely just go and give us 20 to 30 minutes like we just saw tonight on Monday Night Raw, if they give us that type of fight, we're going to be talking about this one as possibly the best tournament match, of this entire tournament. And the bar is set really high now after what Roman Reigns and Antonio Cesaro just did. I mean, to elevate the game, and they're going to have to elevate it now. I would love to see it. If you want my early prediction right now, I got Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns in the tournament final. And I'm even going to go out on a limb here, and I think, just my personal opinion, as much as I know a lot of people are going with Roman Reigns to win the whole thing, for some odd reason, this is actually has the groundwork of the Authority having their fingers all over this, and I believe Dean Ambrose is going to win the tournament, become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, thanks in large part to the Authority. It's my personal opinion, just mine alone. Anthony, it is all yours.
So you think we're going to get some Authority shenanigans, huh, Flex?
Unfortunately, the way that this is being shaped up, I believe, yes, we are going to have Authority shenanigans a la the Deadly Game tournament back in, I believe it was 1998, something like that.
Yep.
I believe we are going to have Authority shenanigans rearing its ugly head, not in the semifinals, but in the main event, the tournament final for the WWE World Heavyweight title.
Okay. So that's all there is to say on that. 2 to 2.25 stars. Probably 2.25 at the absolute best for this fight. This Del Rio and Kalisto fight. fourth best fight of the night. Even 10 minutes, a solid match for what it was, but we knew this was going to be the worst of the tournament fights. I mean, I knew that was going to happen. I mean, I called this one too. Del Rio going over, no big surprise. I am very surprised that they have him do this Warriors Way-like maneuver instead of the cross arm breaker, which he was known for in his first go-around with the WWE that won him numerous championships and other matches. But, man, I'll tell you what. The semifinals, Roman Reigns, Alberto Del Rio. I think we could be looking at a 3 to 3.5 star fight there. I definitely think that's going to be a very good match, to say the very least. Owens and Ambrose, that's going to be a straight-up be-a-man fight. I definitely agree with Fletcher's sentiments on that. We could be looking at a 4 to 4.25, maybe 4.5 at the absolute best when it comes to that. But early projection as far as the tournament goes, I definitely agree with who wins. I, too, also have Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose in the finals. But I've got Roman Reigns actually winning it, just like with the Authority. You know, Bullock and I talked about this earlier on. We said that we were going to have a carbon copy of the 1998 Survivor Series. Because remember, it was Roman Reigns' cousin, The Rock, who aligned himself with Vince and Shane McMahon, thus beginning the corporation, the corporate champion. We all remember that. Why do I have this sneaking suspicion that we could have the corporate champion 2.0 and we could have another big Roos angle here? Because you remember The Rock on a Sunday Night Heat show before Survivor Series said to Vince McMahon, I'd rather be the people's ass than to ever kiss yours. And what happened? They pulled the rug out from all of us. They stooped us all. And The Rock aligned with Vince and Shane. And why do I have this feeling that we're going to have Roman Reigns do the same thing, only this time he'll be aligning with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and becoming their corporate champion, just like his cousin The Rock did 17 years before in St. Louis. I think that's what's going to happen this Sunday in the ATL. But those two semifinal matches, Reigns, Del Rio, Ambrose, Owens, should both be very good. I think Ambrose and Owens will be better. I agree with Fletcher on that. And as far as the final goes, well, Reigns and Ambrose is going to be awesome, but I too have this sneaking suspicion that Authority shenanigans could rear its ugly head for the first time in quite a while. You know, for the longest time, we haven't had any Authority shenanigans. Probably not since like late spring, early summer, but hopefully we can keep that trend away. But I got this bad feeling that there will be Authority shenanigans in that final match on Sunday night. 2 to 2.25 stars, fourth best fight of the night. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this match, and as well as your early thoughts on the semifinals, real quick.
All right, I do agree. It was about a 2 to 2.25 star match. I mean, this was indeed the worst of the four quarterfinal matches that we had tonight. But even with that, I mean, I still thought the action was good for what it was. I mean, I like that new finishing maneuver for Alberto Del Rio that you guys talked about. I mean, I really like it. And, I mean, even though I would have loved to see the cross arm breaker be brought back, but I just really like that new finishing maneuver of his. And as far as the semifinal matches for Survivor Series, I do agree the Dean Ambrose Kevin Owens match is going to be the best of the two. I mean, that's going to be another be a man fight right there with Ambrose and Owens, and then Roman Reigns and Alberto Del Rio. So yeah, so really got nothing more to say. 2.25 stars. So Florio, let's move on to our final segment of the night, and boy, we're gonna have some fun with this one.
For only the third time in the history of Monday Night Raw and the first time in 11 years, the Divas main evented Monday Night Raw. But this time it was not in a match. No, it was a contract signing. It was the first time the women ever main evented a Monday Night Raw. It was on August the 21st of 2000, which was the go-home show for that year's SummerSlam. It was Stephanie McMahon Helmsley defending the women's championship against Lita, with The Rock as the special guest referee, and it was Lita who won that match and became the new women's champion on that night in Lafayette, Louisiana, in the Cajun Dome. The only other time since then that the women main evented, go back to December the 13th of 2004 in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Independence Arena, when Trish Stratus and Lita put on, to this day, still, the greatest women's match in the history of Monday Night Raw for the women's championship. 4.5-star classic there, which, of course, Lita also won and became, once again, the women's champion. This time, we had the Divas champion, Charlotte, and her number one contender and challenger, Paige. They signed the contract for their Divas title match coming up at Survivor Series. Whew. Nothing left for me to say except segment of the night. This was unbelievable. You know, Michael Cole was there to preside over it. Wow, I mean, just amazing. I mean, the back and forth was simply incredible. The emotion, even though I thought both ladies were amazing, I got to give the edge to Charlotte because, you know, not just because of her mic work, but also because it wasn't just the mic work, it was also the emotion that she put behind it, especially bringing up her late younger brother, Reid Flair. Of course, we all know the tragic story of Reid Flair, who left this earth way too young, and I do mean way too young. A young man who had such an incredible future ahead of him. He ended up passing away much sooner than we would have liked. And you saw how emotional she got, because I know this for a fact. Her and Reid were like this, you know. It just like all of us are, you know. It's basically like that. It was like a best friend kind of bond. I know that for a fact, being the Flair family aficionado. I mean, I'm not just all about the Hart family. I'm also about the Flair family too. And I knew that for a fact. So, but yeah, the emotion that she brought up, that was amazing. And then of course, what's a contract signing without physicality? And I even thought the physicality in the contract signing was just wow. I mean, those two absolutely went at it. Oh, did they go at it. The emotion both ladies showed, the mic work was just spot on. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, I didn't like the fact that they went there, you know, just to sell the match. And normally I get, you know, I definitely get a little upset when they, you know, go with a personal route. But in this case, I'm actually gonna let it go because of the fact that Charlotte, you know, showed that emotional side of her, that beautiful side of her, but it was emotional, it was heated. I felt some Shakespearean drama in this, and all I can say is this was, to me, the segment of the night. And I know a lot of people said this was not a good way to close the show. I disagree. I thought this was a very fantastic and brilliant way to close the show tonight. Absolutely spot on. I mean, I really don't know who got the better end of that, honestly. But we'll have more on this Saturday night when we do our Survivor Series preview edition of this year Wrestling Forum. So, oh, what a way to close it out. Fantastic. Phenomenal. Segment of the night. And as far as Diva segments go, I can honestly say this was the Diva segment of the year. Even better than when the whole revolution started on the Go Home show for Battleground back in July in Kansas City. So, when Stephanie, you know, did all that. So, well done, Paige. Well done, Charlotte. But I got to say, Charlotte, by a smidge, was the star of this segment, even though Paige was brilliant, too. Segment of the night. Damn good way to close the show. There's nothing left for me to say. Michael Bullock, I know you were chomping at the bits to talk about this. I mean, you were trying to tell me about that. I was getting ready for the show. I couldn't quite hear what you were saying before we started the show. So, all right, my man, it's all yours. Your thoughts on this unbelievable contract signing. It definitely ranks up there as one of the best contract signings of all time, too. So with all that said, Michael Bullock, Charlotte Paige, contract signing for Survivor Series. What else is there to say, man? That hasn't been said already. Bullock, your thoughts?
Sorry about that. Forgot to unmute my mic. Yeah. Um, well, what else is there to say? Segment of the night. I mean, you could just feel the emotion coming out of both combatants, and I mean, basically, Michael Cole started off the whole thing by asking Paige, by asking both of them, saying, "What happened? What happened to the friendship?" And Paige was like, "You know what? There was no friendship. When you're when you're a true champ, there is no room for emotion or friendship. So I'm going to teach Charlotte the hard way, and I will do it this Sunday." And then Charlotte basically calls Paige, bitter, and calls her bitter and angry. I just lost the notes up here. Trying to pull it back up, but yeah, basically Charlotte was saying that Paige was bitter and angry. Hold on a second. I'm just getting right back up here. Here we go. And of course Charlotte was wondering what made Paige like this. And Charlotte was like, "I did not get into this business to make friends, but when I started in NXT, I mean, and the fact they came from the same background, she wanted to be like Paige, and and they didn't grow up like most little girls. They sat at home watching their parents on TV night after night, sacrificing their bodies. They cared about the WWE." And basically, Charlotte, basically, you could see the tears coming and bringing up her late brother, Reid Flair, God rest his soul, saying that when her little brother passed away, Paige was there for her, and that she's here today because of him to fulfill his dream, and she calls them family. And then Paige basically was like, "You know what? It doesn't matter what you say." And she said, "You know what? I've been using you the whole time." And then Charlotte is like, "You know what? You really suck at it, and because I'm the champion and you're not. It didn't have to be like this. It's not about the title. It's about who has your back at the end of the day." And then Paige is like, "Where did you learn this?" And I love how Charlotte brought up some of the most famous factions in the WWE. Team Extreme, of course, with Matt Hardy. I mean the Hardy Boys and Lita. Our favorite, the Four Horsemen, and of course, one of the other greatest factions of all time, D Generation X. And then she says PCB was going to change the division, and then Paige is like, "Wrong," and then she says that Paige says she deserves the title more than Charlotte. And then Charlotte's like, "You're not a champion. A champ is a role model. A champ is someone a little girl wants to be like." And she says she won't be champion forever, but she's not going to lose the title this Sunday, and it damn sure is not going to be to someone like you, Paige. And then Paige is saying, "Oh, that was quite a speech," and I had a tear. I'm like, "No, that's confidence." And she says, "Oh, Charlotte, you're so naive, and it makes me sick." And then she says that thinking that everyone has Charlotte's back is a bunch of bull, and basically saying, "You know what? No one's gonna have your back. In fact, where's Rick? Why doesn't he just come out and drop an elbow on a jacket?" And she went so far, and she basically called him an old fart. Well, you probably know there's some people out there who feel insulted by what she said. And Charlotte was so upset, she basically told Paige to shut her mouth, or there's not going to be a Survivor Series. And I'm going to continue to fight every day, just like her family. And then the ultimate insult and disrespect. And I mean, Paige talking about Reed saying, "Oh, your little baby brother didn't have much fight in him, did he?" And then that's when Charlotte snapped. She flew across the table. The fight was on. I mean, they took it to the outside, brought it back inside, and until Paige finally escaped. Wow. Talk about a wild way to end what I thought was a real good edition of Monday Night Raw, and it really gives some more intrigue to this Divas title match at Survivor Series. So, segment of the night. Fletcher, I don't know how you're going to follow that. Your thoughts on this segment?
All right, guys. Let's really break it down. The segment was amazing. I think to a fault, it was definitely the segment of the night, no doubt about it. I'll agree with that. It was a good way to end Monday Night Raw for the most part. You felt everything. But the one thing I think we have to really take away from it was, I think for me, the raw emotion of Charlotte Flair. And you almost sensed going into it like she was she was at the break before she started doing her story or started to speak. You could already tell she was already on the verge of breaking. When she was talking about Reed and the family aspect and everything else, I know somewhere Ric Flair must have been. I don't even know if I could even put the words about what he must have been thinking, seeing his daughter breaking down on TV, breaking down in tears on TV, and talking about her brother, Ric Flair's son, in that type of light. And I know it's all storylined and everything else, and we always get this rap about how, wrestling has been fake. And, if you really step away from that and let the emotion take a hold of you and let that be a drive force, you could actually see the measure of a man, or in this case, the measure of a woman in anything. And I think that's the one thing that really takes away from tonight. I felt Charlotte, well, no. I'm not gonna use her wrestler name for this, because I thought what she did was she transcended more than just wrestling. I felt Ashley Flair tonight with her way that she was talking about Reed. And I love the contrast of how she was talking to Paige in the way about role models and what that flag bearer is for young women. And there's already one flag bearer or type of role model that little kids are living up to, at least in wrestling, and I believe that's the NXT Women's Champion, Bayley. I think Bayley is a role model for young women out there. And I know Charlotte wants to be in that same level, and she will get there. And there's been a lot of negativity about her. I'm going to say it like this. There's been a lot of negativity for Charlotte ever since she became champion. How a lot of people were yelling that, yes, this was going to be a Diva Revolution and this and that. But a lot of people nowadays, and I don't think this is IWC, but I think this is some people, saying she's boring, she's not the champion that we thought she would be. There's been a lot of negativity thrown at Charlotte's direction lately. We haven't seen her that much on TV, either on Raw or SmackDown, and it feels like they might be protecting her. I don't know why, but that's kind of how it's coming off as, or maybe the look of it. But I thought tonight Charlotte looked like a champion, sounded like a champion, and her emotion, her raw, real emotion, gripped me in a way that I haven't been gripped in a very long time. And, a lot of the times when I do the wrestling form, when I'm doing it with Anthony, when I'm doing it with Michael Bullock, it's more about a job. We have to cover Monday Night Raw, and you don't really get a cuspis or any type of, realness a lot of the time. It's always status quo. We go through the formation, and it's always something, it almost goes in a straight line. There's no surprises, there's no thrills, there's no nothing. Very rarely is there something in professional wrestling that might tug us at the heartstrings or makes us feel something that's a little different than anything else. From either pure emotion of happiness, sadness, or even sorrow, or that you feel something in life. And I felt tonight that this was Charlotte's best work ever, because she talked about the friendship that she had with Paige, and growing up in NXT, working their way, the daughter of a legend from the Queen Cities of Charlotte, North Carolina, working her way up, befriending a British beauty from Norwich she is a cut above the rest. She's not your typical diva in the word or the sense, which Paige is. She's not your conventional diva. She is basically, like Derek Ferreira has always said, she's the anti-diva. She's not gonna bat her eyelashes. She's not gonna be, she's not a pin-up type of a thing. She's a fighter. She's a brawler. She's a wrestler. And that's one thing that I think we all can agree on. Where with Charlotte, she said it. She's wrestling because of her family's legacy. And we know how powerful that family name is. I mean, we know her father, Ric Flair. I mean, in many circles, practically the greatest wrestler maybe of all time. He is the most decorated champion in all of professional wrestling, and universally recognized for having 16 world championships, where actually in real, I think he's like a 19-time world champion. Even though they say he's a 16-time world champion, it's actually 19 times. Go to Wikipedia. I did the research. What Ashley Flair is like a third, fourth generation. And that's one thing that I think needs to be addressed or needs to be said. It's powerful enough, it's great enough, it's amazing. And yeah, Paige did go there. She took a swipe. But then again, this is common. This has always happened before. I mean, if you remember, there was an iconic moment in wrestling. Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. It was about a couple of months removed from the unfortunate and timely death of Eddie Guerrero. And Rey Mysterio had done a tribute to Eddie. He had the EG armbands on his arms. He was riding in the lowriders. He had the Eddie Guerrero shirt. And I remember Randy Orton, that sadistic legend killer. This was before pre-Viper days. This was before this was right around the time where I was starting to get into the Viper mode and feel starting to get that Viper venom that started running through my veins. And he had the nerve to say, Eddie is not in heaven. He's burning in hell. And the anger and hostility and the total disrespect that Randy Orton threw at Rey Mysterio, just for the mere fact to try to egg Rey Mysterio on for a fight, which oddly enough led to the No Way Out fight where Orton stole the fight, won the match, and was thrown into what he thought was the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 22. And we saw what happened next, where Teddy Long invited Mysterio and threw it and made a triple threat, and we all know what happened there. Paige tried to do the same thing Orton did all those years ago, and she pulled that card out tonight. And a lot of the times when you go personal, we kind of cringe. But it set Charlotte off and exploded into a brawl. How do we come from that, and what do we make of it? It clearly puts the fight on a pedestal that now this women's fight is a must-see. This is must-watch TV on Sunday night, gentlemen. And at the end of the day, it's going to be about one story. What is Charlotte's emotions going into it? Because that's going to be the make or break in the whole matter. If she can reel that emotion in and fight smart, Charlotte walks out with the belt. But if she lets that anger, that hostility, and just the mere fact that I know the mind games that Paige is probably going to play talking about her father, talking about Reed, and gets in there and gets truly in there, then we might be looking at a new Diva champion. There's questions abound left and right. We just got to see how this plays out. Definitely segment of the night, and a great way and a decent way to close Monday Night Raw. But for me, it was the most personal and probably one of the more powerful from Charlotte than I've seen it in a long time. It's because of the fact tonight she kind of unfurled the velvet rope, and we saw the real Ashley Flair come out. And for me, just personal, thank you for that. Anthony Florio, it is all yours, my friend.
Wow, I have no idea how we're going to follow that, but, well,
Bravo, Fletch. Man, well said.
Very well said. There's no way we can follow it. I mean,
I don't think so.
there's no way to. I mean, there's really no other way to follow it except by saying this. I mean, we're almost out of time for this edition of the Wrestling Forum. But before we wrap up, of course, we have our overall thoughts on this show tonight, and I believe Michael Bullock starts it off. So, Michael Bullock, this go-home edition of Survivor Series edition of Monday Night Raw. Simple question: yay or nay?
Definitely a yay for me. I'm going to say probably somewhere between 8.5 to 9 out of 10 is my overall rating for this edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, far and away the fight of the night was, of course, Roman Reigns and Cesaro. The second best fight of the night being Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. And, of course, Neville and Kevin Owens being the third best fight of the night. Fourth best fight of the night, of course. Alberto Del Rio and Kalisto. And then, of course, you had that opening segment with the Brothers of Destruction and the Wyatt family. And, of course, highlighted, of course, by the segment of the night with Charlotte and Paige, and everything else was just pretty much meh. So, but definitely a good way to intrigue the viewers into getting this Survivor Series pay-per-view or WWE Network special, however you do it, and of course, it all starts, of course, this week. Of course, it's Undertaker week on the WWE Network. It started off tonight, of course, it actually just started last night with the 1990 Survivor Series with the debut of The Undertaker at that event, and then, of course, tonight we had the Legends with JBL Part 1, Undertaker Rivals, with the panel of Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Triple H on there. I'm definitely going to try to watch it at some point. And then, of course, tomorrow night, Undertaker 25 years. And then, of course, Wednesday night, the Undertaker gravest matches. And then, of course, immediately following SmackDown, it'll be part 2 of that Legends with JBL. And, yeah, so definitely a great way to, of course, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker's debut in WWE. And it's not just those specials that I mentioned. I checked it on demand, and they even have some segments from the past that are on there, whether it's his funeral parlor segments or that segment with where he arose at leading up to his match with his brother Kane at WrestleMania 14. So if you got the WWE Network, definitely check it out. So 8.5 to 9 out of 10 is my rating for this edition of Raw. Definitely looking forward Survivor Series. So, Fletcher, I give it to you.
8.5. No doubt about it. I mean, Michael Bullock absolutely got it right on this one. All the matches were amazing tonight. The body of work of everything, it's definitely going to be a very interesting Survivor Series. We already know we're gonna have Roman Reigns and Alberto Del Rio in a semifinal fight. We got Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose in the semifinal fight. The winner is gonna fight in the main event for the world title. Later in the evening, we got the Brothers of Destruction and two members of the Wyatt family. They're gonna go at it. Um, and then we got Paige and Charlotte for the Divas title, and now that fight has really taken a life of its own. 4 fights confirmed, and we still got many things to go. I mean, we might get a traditional Survivor Series fight. We don't know. There's still some other matches. Still to look for. Well, 3 tournament fights. Taker. Yeah, technically that is 5, but I mean, it just kind of feels like I kind of lumped all of it together, so that's why I didn't really consider, because I kind of make the tournament as a separate entity. Let's just say it like that, Florio. But it it, it it is truly going to be an amazing event, to say the very least. The show itself was really built on, a lot of great story progression. Like I said, 3 out of the 4 tournament fights, I think we all can agree, was around the 3-star and higher level. Um, there was a couple of cool down fights that were really good, really necessary, great placement when they put them in. So yeah, no, this without a doubt, this was at least an 8.5 out of 10 for me, and this was definitely going down as one of the top Raws of the year. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 8.5 out of 10, teetering on 9. I mean, another very good edition of Monday Night Raw. This go home show definitely delivered in a lot of ways. Like Bullock said, the top matches of the night, no question about it. Roman Reigns, Cesaro, 4.25 to 4.5 stars there. 3.5 to 4 stars for the second best fight of the night, Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose rather, and then Kevin Owens and Adrian Neville round out the top 3 with a 3 to 3.25 star match, and then Del Rio and Kalisto, solid but unspectacular match, 2 to 2.25 for that to round out the top 4, and then you had those were the 4 match highlights, and then the opening segment with the Brothers of Destruction and the Wyatt family, very good there. But of course, that Divas contract signing, that stole the show right there. Simple as that. Those were the highlights alone. And then lowlights, definitely the Dudleys and the Ascension, worst fight of the night, 0.5 to 1. And then the other match with the R-Truth and Tyler Breeze, even though it wasn't even remotely bad, 1.5 to 2, but it was the second worst fight of the night. And then rounding out the top 3 worst fights of the night, of course, the New Day, and along with the Usos and Ryback, mainly because of that DQ finish. But other than that, a very good edition of Monday Night Raw tonight, setting up for the Survivor Series 5 official matches. You got the 3 tournament matches, the semifinals and the finals. Charlotte and Paige for the Diva belt, and then Taker and Kane against the 2 members of the Wyatts, which we all think probably will be Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. We'll have to wait and see. That's only 5. I mean, I'm very surprised they didn't add any more matches to this. Maybe SmackDown spoilers or some things will come out during the week, hopefully. I'm still hoping that we get at least 1, maybe 2, tops, traditional Survivor Series elimination matches. I mean, because you cannot have a Survivor Series without at least 1 traditional Survivor Series elimination match. I'm hoping we get at least 1, maybe 2. That's probably, I mean, I could probably see 2 at the absolute most, like we got last year. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Maybe 1 for the men and 1 for the Divas. We'll have to wait and see. But overall, it's an 8.5 out of 10, no question about it. So with that said, just about out of time here on the Wrestling Forum. We got one last order of we got 2 more orders of business. Of course, the shout-outs being the first of those 2 orders of business, and then the final order of business, obviously, myself, me setting up the future content for this week. So Shout out time, you know the routine. Michael Bullock, you started off, then Fletch, and then I'll wrap it up with the future content. So Bullock, let's get it started with your shout outs real fast.
All right, we definitely want to thank you for tuning in and listening to us for another edition of the Wrestling Forum here tonight. We definitely appreciate it, and definitely a shout out to all the fans out there. We definitely appreciate your your love and your support for our shows, whether it's this or Strictly Sports. Of course, shout outs to our super fans, Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, Matt Ward, and Jason Hicksonbaugh. And of course, shout outs to all of our friends from high school days, starting with Al Bretterson, Jimmy Alden, Rob Parsons, Eric Carrier, Tom Silva, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Megan Silva, the First Lady of Strictly Sports, Kaisa Butler, and of course to Derek Ferreira of course, he's got his continued success going with the sports blog. Definitely got to check that out. So yeah, so that's gonna do it for me. Of course, I'll leave my shout out for Strictly Sports NFL Saturday, but of course before that we got Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. So until then, this is the Phenom, Mike Bullock, saying thank you all so much for listening to us. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. God bless. Be good to each other. And I'll see you guys Thursday night for Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Fletcher, I give it to you.
Yes, indeed. First off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there for listening and enjoying the Wrestling Forum. You guys are the best in the world. Of course, to all the super fans out there, you guys know who you guys are. To my friends in the junior high and high school days, much love to you guys. To the ever expanding 2184 crew, it seems like we're adding a new member each and every week. But I do love you guys. You guys are awesome as always. You guys are like my second family. You guys already know that. And that's really it. So until then, it's Mike Fletcher. You know the routine. Hustle hand pounds. I'm out. Good night. Anthony, take it home, kid.
All right, we'll do Michael Fletcher. Of course, we want to, thank you all so very much for tuning in. And of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make the Wrestling Forum along with the Strictly Sports shows, whether it's College Football Thursday or NFL Friday, as ridiculously over as they are. We appreciate it as always. And, you are the best fans in the world, simple as that. And, of course, special shout-outs to Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family, along with Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Cho from the UK, Megan Silva and Kaisa Butler, and then, of course, our boys from the school days, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Alvarez and Rob Parsons, and last but certainly not least, our Imperial Grand Poobah himself, who we miss very dearly on this show, and our other shows, I might add, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb, Derek Ferreira. Hopefully we'll have him back on one of these shows soon enough. But the sports blog, continuing to do some things. It's been a major success for Derek, and the three of us could not be any more happier for him. So we wish you continued success, Derek, and hopefully one of these days, whether it's on this here Wrestling Forum or on one of the Strictly Sports shows, College Football Thursday or NFL Friday, we hope to have you back here soon enough. So these shows haven't been the same without you, buddy, even though we've been having fun, but not that much fun without you, man. So simple as that. So, all right, very big week here on the Strictly Sports family of networks, mainly my channel, of course. But starting this Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, it'll start. Get this, 5 consecutive nights of content. Oh yes. Let's just say the Thanksgiving feast has come a little early. It all starts this Thursday night with College Football Thursday, headline matches galore, Michigan State, Ohio State, TCU, Oklahoma, Baylor, and Oklahoma State. That's just to name a few. And there's a whole lot more of that where that came from. So tune in Thursday for that loaded show. And then NFL Friday, Cincinnati Bengals, Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots, Denver Broncos, and Chicago Bears. That just got interesting. And the Indianapolis Colts against the Atlanta Falcons. That's just on our side. And then, of course, on the NFC side, the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. That just got interesting. So tune in on Friday for NFL Friday. And then at some point Saturday, I don't know, myself and Mr. Bullock, I know, will be here. Hopefully we can get Fletch in there somehow, some way, somehow. Our preview edition, as we preview the Survivor Series, from the tournament matches, the Divas match, the Brothers of Destruction and the Wyatt family, maybe one or two tops traditional Survivor Series elimination matches, praying to the good Lord above for that. And then, of course, that's night 3, and then Sunday night, night 4, Michael Fletcher, his channel. It's going to be his channel, Braves Fan 95, as the three of us will recap the Survivor Series. And then we wrap it all up next Monday night with the Wrestling Forum, Monday Night Raw, as we sort out all the fallout from the Survivor Series. That show will be in Nashville, Tennessee at the Bridgestone Arena. And then off night Tuesday. And then Wednesday night, on top of that, don't forget the football feast. So we're going to be very busy over the next week, folks. Let me tell you that right now. I hope you're all hungry because we're going to be feeding you college football, NFL, professional wrestling. Why? Because in the immortal words of Mark Henry, that's what we do. Simple as that. So get ready. Jot it all down. College football Thursday, NFL Friday, Survivor Series preview Saturday, Survivor Series recap Sunday, Wrestling Forum, and then and also on that show we'll start the road to the final event of the year, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, which will be live from our neck of the woods, the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, on December the 13th. So, get ready for that, my friends. It's gonna be a great week of action. We all cannot wait to get it all started Thursday night. So until Thursday night for College Football Thursday, it's Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio here for the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom, Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Hardcore Pipe, I'm Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Force style. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. And until Thursday night for College Football Thursday, you are watching the Wrestling Forum right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. And for now, Anthony Florio, so long.